Hello, I'm Huwen from Wow Factor Faces and Grown Up Glitz on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm most known for my eye designs. With my Grown Up Glitz account. So I do lovely eye designs, very detailed and very detailed and multi-layered. So I use stencils and lots of different brushes, different petal strokes, all that sort of thing, different line work to make lovely glamorous eye designs. So that's what I'm going to be teaching today with my very beautiful niece Heidi Rose, who's very kindly come over to be filmed. So that's what I'm going to be teaching today, and I hope you enjoy them. So I shall see you in the videos. Thank you. Hello. So this is Heidi, and she's going to be my model for these eye designs. So let's get started. So I'm going to do one with some green and some foliage, and I'm going to use my green one stroke rainbow cake from Silly Farm. Alright, I will start with this eye. So I'm just going to squeeze my sponge, which is just a quarter of a round sponge, and close your eyes and just stamp that across the eye. You can squeeze it right in so it gets into the corner, and then we'll take it just out to the side there. Then I'm going to use my stencil, which has leaves on it. So I will position that so it goes around her face, and using the same rainbow cake as we used, you just get that stamped in there, and then I'm going to use it again and just bring it round onto her cheek. There we are. So that's that done. And then I'm going to get a green one stroke to complement it. So I'm going to I just use homemade one strokes, and I'm going to get one with a dark edge loaded onto an angle brush. Use angle or flat, doesn't matter. I use both depending which one I grab at the time. All right, let me just zoom in a tiny bit. There we go, it's better. So I'm going to come out from the corner of the eye and make a leaf shape. And then I'm going to make another one, and then slightly smaller. And then maybe, no, I'm not going to do one more. I'm just going to pull out some very thin little lines just with the very edge of this brush. This is a Verona 5/8 angle brush from the Face Painting Hub, and it's a very nice brush as it has a very sharp point. You can see it there. All right, so that's that first bit done, and then I shall get a liner brush, just a straight liner brush, very thin, and some black paint. This is black DFX. And I'm going to do some line work as well as the ones that I just did with the Verona brush. I'm just going to add some more swirls, and it's all very liney at the moment, all very layered. With eye designs you stay really close and really tight to the eye, but just layer it up rather than spread it across the face. So that's that, and I'm just going to come across her eye just to give her some kind of eyeliner effect, just on the lid there, and darken up that whole area there. Lovely. Okay. And I'm going to get a smaller brush now into the same one stroke that I used. So the same angle brush, but this is just slightly smaller. This is a 1/2 inch. And I'm going to come into the corner of her eye here and just pull a little bit into the corners there, just to kind of finish the whole, swoop it right over the eye. So that's that. And then I'm going to I want to bring something over the eyelid to kind of connect that with that. So this little leaf in the corner, just going to pull a couple of little lines out just to reflect that. So what you do on one side, you always do on the other. And then I'm going to create some kind of organic sort of shapes that go across here. So not dots, more like kind of animal print really. So for this I'm using a very small, I think this is it's my local nail favourite brush that I think is discontinued, but I think a King Art has replaced it. So I've just created this sort of organic kind of animal print in black, just kind of starting bigger over this side and then tapering as we get there, just to connect one side with the other. Okay, I'm going to still layer. So this time I will get my Liane flower brush with white. Loading it with white very well, all the way to the tip. Get out. And then I've got my very small little solids, which is a lipstick palette, a lipstick sample palette. I just use it for my solids. I don't use big solids. I just take a little bit. When I'm making my own one strokes, I take a little bit extra and pop it into here, and this is all I need for double dipping and line work, and that is all that I use solids for. Anything else is done with a rainbow cake. It's just the way I work. So I have lots of rainbow cakes, lots of different colours. So I'm just dipping it into this kind of teal colour here, which I believe is a GTX, and then I'll triple dip into black, so I've got all of those loaded onto my brush. Okay, and then I'm going to add some little petals just in the corner here, so layering up like that, and maybe 2 small ones. And this brush is great because you can use the flat of it, or you can use the much smaller side. Okay, so you can really change the size of your petals so they can cascade and just get smaller and smaller as you go. And I'm going to bring them all the way around, and there, isn't that beautiful? Very nice. Lovely. So that's good. the thing is, I've loaded this brush so well that I could probably go all over her face, and the temptation to use up all your paint on your brush is quite a lot when you're doing eye designs, which is why they end up growing and growing. But you've really got to kind of rein it in and stick to just really tight in the corner and just layer. And yes, you've got a lot of paint left in your brush. No, you don't have to use it. So that's something to remember. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to just add some little dots just to finish it off. I could do white dots, but the whole thing is very green and white, so I'm going to go for a complete contrast, and I'm going to go bright pink, neon pink instead. But it could be white, or it could be blue or green, but I think having the real kind of opposite contrast always makes things pop. So this is my round brush number 5, and I'm going to just pop some little dots in there and just fill little fillers, and don't forget what you do on one side, do on the other, and just complete those going round. And I'm just doing them in little clusters. I'm not putting them absolutely everywhere. So I think that will do. That's one design all done, relatively quick. So there we are. I'm going to zoom so that we can see it even closer. There we go. That is lovely. So we've, just to recap, we sponged over the eye lid and just outside of the eye, then the stencil, then one stroke with a 5/8, and then a little bit more one stroke with a 1/2 inch angle, line work with a liner, small organic shapes to connect, make a bridge from one side of the eye to the other, just underneath the brow, and then petals and dots. So an awful lot of techniques going on there into a very small space, but that's what makes eye design so intricate and amazing, really. That's why I love them. So there we are. I shall just zoom out again. Oh, that's in.
Bit too close.
Bit too close. So there we are. So thank you to Heidi for number 1. Absolutely perfect. That's lovely. Thank you very much. And I'm going to stop that there. Okay.